Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very special speed build for you all. This build is based off of the shell challenge made by the wonderful KiwiSimsKate. Kate is a good friend of mine, or I would like to think so at least. Hopefully Kate agrees with that statement. And her builds are honestly the best you've ever seen. They are top notch. I love them so much. I am literally obsessed with every single one of her builds that she has ever come out with. So please go check her out. Her links will be in the description of this video. Now, as seen in this video, this shell is a bit of a strange shape. If you haven't already guessed it, it's K-shaped. I wonder why. I wonder where that reference is from. Kate decided to torture us and create a K-shaped Sims shell in celebration of her 2 years on Twitch. Congrats, Kate. Yay! Claps for Kate. I love the idea of a shell challenge, and Kate's shells never disappoint. But when I saw the shape of the shell, let me tell you, I was very terrified. I knew that I wanted to create a modern home from the shape of the shell, and also the fact that I'm actually really comfortable with that style. You guys would see a lot of my builds are very modern, very contemporary, and so I felt that it would be better to choose that option, a little bit safer than trying to go with a style that I might not be as comfortable with. As the shape is so outlandish, wow, I can't speak today, I'm very sorry. It's very outlandish shape, so I just wanted to make sure that I was comfortable with that. I chose to do the exterior first as well, as you can see, to try and ease the nerves going into the build. I was very nervous, and I just didn't really know where to start with the interior, so I thought, let's stick to the basics, do the exterior first, and then go from there. I chose my light wood tones and white concreting tile for the exterior, which I use a lot in a lot of my builds. You've probably seen it almost overused. And I also used the medium wall height, and then I added some platforms for dimension. I don't usually use a medium wall height, but I thought it'll add a little bit of shape and a little bit of height to the build, but then on the inside and also the outside, it's actually not as high as what you think, which I kind of liked. I liked doing that. I never really do that in my builds. As you can see as well, I have sort of two separate patio spaces that are connected to the house, and then obviously from there there's entertaining points. This one here is the pool, and then the other side is off of the main living space as well. I wanted to separate the spaces to add a sense of realness to the build, because I feel like a lot of real life modern builds do this within the scope of at least Australia. I'm not sure about everywhere else. From there, I moved on to landscaping. As you can see, it's very basic, again, keeping that modern feel. I also love adding little planter areas that just have the spiky agave plants, which I did before. So there's one there next to that sort of patio space, and then the other one is next to the pool. I've seen it a few times. A couple of different creators have done it, and then I've also kind of just adopted it in a lot of my builds. I do it a lot. So again, if you check out any of my other videos, you will most likely see it in that. It's almost like a staple to me now. I kind of have to add it in. So the pool area is off to the side, and I sort of flipped the K over, so it's almost upside down if you're looking at the front of the home as being like the bottom of the page, and you look at a capital K, it's upside down, it's flipped. And I thought that would be easier for me to work with some of the spaces that I was potentially going to create on the inside of the home. So again, the pool area is off to the side with that little patio space, and then we've also got a couple of extras with the pool to add a little bit of fun. Once I was happy with the outside of the home, I decided to brave the interior. Obviously, starting with the floor plan, I knew where I wanted everything to be, just how they were going to look was a whole different story. I wanted everything to be open, but also not. And these Ks really made it tricky for me to have an open concept floor plan. I started from front to back and then went sideways and all over the place until I was eventually finding it very difficult to understand the proportions of everything. I also realized that some of the diagonals were not actually even, so I couldn't actually go across the build. So that, again, made it extremely difficult to floor plan this. So thank you so much, Kate, for that. I appreciate that. I got a bit stumped and also had to use the bed, as you saw as well, for proportions, because again, I was a little bit worried that the house wasn't big enough for the 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms that I wanted. So I needed to put the bed in just to understand, okay, how long is a sim in this diagonal space, and can I fit a whole bed in this space, or do I need to make it a little bit bigger? So you saw that before, and I eventually came up with a floor plan that I was actually happy with. I decided to cut off some of those smaller corners as well, as you can see, to make it easier for adding furniture. Kate said this was okay, by the way, before anybody gets mad at me. I was not doing that also. I was going to break the rules either way, but I was not a rule breaker because she allowed it. But I did have a lot of fun working with the diagonal rooms in this shell. I'm a very square box girly when it comes to my usual build style, so I was very proud of myself for creating something that was a little bit out of the norm for me. But also, Kate, I still hate you for this. Don't, mark my words, I will get revenge, I promise. I wanted to have an open plan kitchen, dining, living space leading out to the back of the lot, and also have 2 bedrooms that could potentially house up to 4 Sims. I almost said 8 Sims there. No, 4 Sims. I was also very lucky and I was able to add that little study room that you can see now where I'm putting the door, which very much helped potentially add a 3rd bedroom if you wanted, or like a nursery. It's very small, so it could be maybe the not favorite child, or it could just be like a toddler or infant or baby room, and then the other room can be shared eventually. There does end up being 2 bathrooms as well, so there's a main bathroom just off of the entryway there, and then there's also an ensuite in the main bedroom, wow. Main bedroom, just there, as you can see. So it really helps. It helps a lot because then I know that there's enough items in this game that the Sims will be happy and they will be able to get their needs under control. I also wanted to keep the colours the same inside and outside, so I chose a light wood floors, windows and accents, and then white for everything else essentially. There's also hints of soft greens and blues to add a modern yet edgy, trendy kind of touch to the house. So the tiles in the bathroom have the coloured tiles on the floor, and then also some of the furnishings as well. You will see I use a lot of greens and blues and a little bit of yellows as well to just add in a little bit of spice to the colours, so it's not just a boring beige mum kind of home. This is the style of home that is my absolute dream home, so I'm very comfortable with all of the furnishings. I do this a lot, so I use a lot of the same sort of stuff. The main kind of packs that I've used within this build are Tiny Living, Dream Home Decorator. I used the plant pack, or like the plant kit pack, base game obviously, and then also Eco Lifestyle. I was trying to limit myself to the amount of packs that I was using, so then if someone didn't have all the packs, then they could potentially, download this build. But also, they just work really well together. Tiny Living, Eco Lifestyle, and Dream Home Decorator are 3 packs that if you don't have any packs and you were like, I don't know which pack to get, Bree, tell me which packs to get, and you really enjoy this style of building and gameplay in general, but just build and buy, these are the 3 packs that I would 100% recommend. I also love the world that Eco Lifestyle came with. I love that world. It's really fun to build in, and it's very eco-industrial, which I, again, love. So yes, I chose the Eco Lifestyle windows, as you can see, and also doors in both the white sort of colorway and then one of the lighter sort of wood tone colorways to match with a couple of the other objects within the world, and especially like the floor, it matches almost perfectly. So that was a win in my eyes. Again, you can see lots of plants, not too much clutter, but just enough to make it a little bit lived in, and also the right amount of natural light. So I love putting in windows, big windows into my builds. And then as you can see in the kitchen, I put 2 sliding doors up against each other. So theoretically speaking, if this was a real life house, you could open those doors right up, and then it would be almost like an outdoor, indoor, living, dining kitchen. So moving on to just the general furnishings of the home. Again, with the open plan concept, it's very tricky to try and get those zones where you want them to be. But I actually originally thought I was going to have enough room for an indoor dining space, but I soon quickly realized I was not going to have the space for that. So you'll see in a little bit, I ended up putting a massive dining table outside. And again, it's that whole, you could open up those doors and it's basically a second living space kind of vibe. So there's no actual indoor dining space, but it is covered. So technically speaking, if it was raining or snowing, your Sims won't get mad at you for being cold or wet. So don't get mad at me, but I didn't fit it in. But again, it works, okay? This is the kids/teen room, I wanted to put bunk beds because I couldn't physically fit 2 beds in this room because of the weird shape of it. So I put bunk beds, but again, obviously you can use that second room as like a separate little space if you really wanted to, and then you could make this like a little bit smaller. Anyway, you could change some of the walls, but I thought that this was kind of cute. It could be like twins or something, and they want to share a room together. I was thinking a girl and a boy, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. They could be any gender, any preference, whatever. I just sort of made it seem like that. But again, it's very beige, very brown, very white, with the accents of the green coming in as well. So I just was very happy with this, and also just adding some fun little elements. I added in that mirror from City Living. I don't know why I did that, but it fit kind of perfectly in that space. So I thought, may as well add it in, and it also saves me having to find something to put in that weird little nook next to the door. So there it is. Here is the outdoor space that I was talking about. So that is a really big table right next to it. So it kind of counts. Not a notification coming through. Oh my God, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. This is professional YouTube. Anyway, I decided to do an outdoor space that I do a lot. So again, you'll see this in a lot of my builds. That pergola is actually base game. For those of you who didn't know, I saw someone use it. I can't remember the creator that used it, but a lot of people use it now in a build like ages ago. And I love it. I love it and I use it a lot. So it's base game, for anyone wondering. I just look up pergola. I don't remember the name of it. And then it comes up. There's 2. There's one from City Living, I think, or Get Together. And then there's that one, and it's base game, and it's amazing. So I would definitely recommend using it in your next build, because even though it doesn't look very modern, you can make it very modern with the furnishings underneath it. So it's great, and it's playable underneath it too. So again, perfect. Then I decided to do the bathrooms. The bathrooms are pretty much the same vibe, just different shapes, which again, I'm happy with. I don't mind. Bathrooms to me are very boring. I keep them very simple because my Sims don't spend a lot of time in them, obviously. So yes. Very much the same as the main bathroom, just a little bit of different furnishings and a different kind of clutter items, but for the most part, it's literally the same. I also haven't touched on this yet. That back door I used, that's from the new like greenhouse kit, or the newest greenhouse kit. I love it. It matches so perfect. The colors are exactly the same as the windows from Snowy Escape and other packs. It's amazing. Anyway, here's the end of the build. I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you. And thanks, Kate, for making this atrocious shell.